What is up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. I had to take a couple of days off because, to be honest with you, I commend all of the people who have been giving constant commentary and updates on this Diddy, Cassie, and now the whole cast of characters and crew that have also been getting lawsuits slapped against them, as well as other people slapping more lawsuits against Diddy. It's just too much. I can't understand, and I never will understand anyone that can question why someone would wait so long to come out and say these things, because to be honest with you, I don't really believe that if it happened immediately, anyone would really believe it as much as we do now with all of the allegations that have been laid against Diddy, as well as accusations, and now all of the, I would say, evidence, even though we haven't legitimately seen a lot of evidence, but names that have been dropped and different things like that, where it's even more believable now. So just hearing about all of these things, to be honest with you guys, is traumatic for me. So I can't even fathom what it would feel like for the people who have experienced these things, okay? So, with that being said, a few days ago, last week, I actually talked about, in my personal opinion, how I felt like Cassie would be in more danger now with this situation happening. And I feel that even though there may be some people who felt like, well, she just did it for the money. Well, even though at this point in time, there have been no criminal charges pressed against him, she doesn't really need to press charges, because depending on where things lie and if there are investigations going on that we don't know about, they could choose to prosecute without her having to press charges, which honestly would probably be more beneficial for her. But yet and still, her coming out and filing the lawsuit versus settling behind closed doors and none of us knowing any of this had transpired, for the most part, was, in a way, and I said this before, exposing him and hopefully getting more justice. I won't say real justice or true justice, because monetary justice is justice. It may not be what some people would want or agree with or understand, but honestly, if this man were to get prosecuted and placed behind bars, that does not give her back the years, the dignity, her self-esteem, her safety, her not having pain inflicted upon her, being beat, and all the other things that have been alleged against him. It doesn't take those things back from happening. So whether he was to be placed behind bars or get a load of money, it doesn't take away the hurt that she experienced. But with that being said, I said that I felt like she may be more in danger now, because I felt like that statement that he did about the settlement was extremely condescending, and I read between the lines, and I pretty much felt like this was his way of saying, stay tuned. Not so much really stay tuned for the general public, but for Cassie, stay tuned, see what's coming next. Because this monster, my personal opinion, this monster is deranged, demonic. I do not believe that he believes or worships the true and living God. I do believe he worships a God. There are many gods, and even Satan is a god. He's the god of the world's systems, and I believe that he has operated in that way. So when he talks about love, it's very condescending, because God, the true and living God, is love. The God of this world and the world systems is not love. He is actually the complete opposite. So when he says things in public, to me, it is the antithesis of what he actually means and what we believe love to really be. And there's a lot of people who don't even really know what love really is. So honestly, there's that. But I'm going to put the full link to this video. It's from Tough News Podcast. I'm subscribed to his YouTube channel. I have been for years. And he has been dropping pieces upon pieces before all of this stuff came out, because he was sharing a lot of things when it came to the demise of Kim Porter and like what really happened, and some things that have been shared with him. So when I saw this, I said, you know what? This is reiterating what I was saying. So I'm going to play a little clip of his video. I'm going to play the audio of it, but again, I'm going to put the full link so that you can check out the full video in the description box, and subscribe to his channel if you're not already subscribed to his channel. But he was reiterating some things that I felt, and I just, as much as people may feel like, oh, this money now, she can just live it up. This is a payday for her. Rejoice, live your life. I don't believe that this gives her that safety and security and a surety that some people feel that it does.
And it says here, hey, what's going on? You still with family? Did you get my text? So, brother, I just want to enlighten you on what the F is going on. Cassie's parents are pushing for federal charges to be brought against Diddy in the state of California for the years of abuse inflicted upon their daughter. Cassie has fled back to her hometown of New London, Connecticut, and has 24-hour security monitoring her place of residence. I'm told that there has been talks of putting Cassie and her entire family in a witness protection program in the next coming weeks after federal charges are filed against Diddy. Cassie's husband, Alex, has reported to federal officials that he and his entire family has been receiving threats after the conclusion of his wife and Diddy reaching a settlement. Cassie has said to already have put a will in place to ensure that in the event that something happens to her, that her family will be taken care of. Cassie also says that it was her intent to expose Diddy publicly to garner her safety to some degree rather than settling quietly. Cassie still feels as long as Diddy is free that he will retaliate in some way, shape, or form. She feels that the one thing you don't do is give Diddy time to plot and plan, because he is extremely dangerous in that way. It's also been brought to my attention that before Kim moved out to California after Diddy robbed her by buying her a mansion, giving her $2 million, and showering her with other materialistic things, that Kimora begged Kim not to move into a home that Diddy purchased for her, and also not to accept anything from him for that matter, because it was a form of having total control to manipulate her and watch her every move. Instead, Kimora suggested that Kim and her twin daughters move in with her, but Kim chose to move into the home that Diddy bought her for the sake of the twins, which ended up being a recipe for disaster. Cassie also told her lawyers that she was pregnant at 7 different times and was forced to have an AB. And even though she never wanted kids with Diddy or anyone else that she was forced to be intimate with, it's been echoed that Cassie was worried about her ability to conceive later on in life because she always wanted to get married and have kids. She thought that having so many ABs that somehow it would affect her fertility. So she secretly tried to have her eggs frozen in an effort to have an IVF done later on, but Diddy found out about the appointment and had it canceled. Cassie did not want that information leaked into the lawsuit for some reason, according to another lawyer from a different law firm who had direct access to Cassie's information because of his relationship with the law firm that represented Cassie. Something else that has been confirmed, and this is coming from the vanilla guy that Kim was secretly seeing before she passed, who is a high-ranking tech official that works in Silicon Valley, that Kim had recordings of certain male artists getting their back blown out at many private parties that Diddy had thrown, and at least 2 of them were forced into performing humiliating favors that involved yellow water. All right, guys, pay attention, yellow water. I'm paraphrasing there. And one of them were in tears during the process. I will tell you over the phone who they are. Lastly, it was exposed that Kim said that the price of Diddy selling his soul to the devil, that certain people connected to him were feist, including Biggie. The whole West versus East Coast beef was all reckless and baseless propaganda to cover up what was really going on. Diddy had a debt to pay to the devil at the expense of Biggie losing his life. The one thing that remains a fact is that Diddy purposely set Biggie up. Kim also said that Diddy had to choose between his mom and Biggie, and she has Diddy admitting that during a conversation back in 1998, and we still see that Diddy's mom is still living and thriving at 80 years old. It's a lot, man. Are you going to invite that lawyer on your channel to do an interview? I think you should. I think it would really send shockwaves throughout the entire world. Hit me up when you get this, bro. 1.
All right, guys. So you heard all of that, and he was paraphrasing, or doing some words differently for the sake of, YouTube and censoring, I assume. But listen, I believe everything that was in the email that was sent to him from whoever, sent that email to Tough News Podcast about her family wanting to push for federal charges and then possibly going into the witness protection program, and how she just does not feel safe, how has this will in place, which, I mean, of course, everyone, should have that, but she's got a will in place to ensure that her family, if something were to happen to her. So do you think that this sounds like someone who was just after money? She was after, and is after, justice. And this is just a part of the justice system, how this works in the civil system, where money is the justice. But for her to be in fear for her life, her husband getting threats against his life, her family possibly having to go into the federal witness protection program, she does not feel safe. She's got 24-hour security. This does not sound like someone who's going to be living it up, hopping from island to island, just living a life of paradise, footloose and fancy free, and just having a good time on the whatever many millions of dollars that she settled for. Because one, whether she settled for 30 million, 60 million, or 90 million, a percentage of that goes to her legal team. Okay. So it's not like they're just doing this pro bono and whatever she gets is hers. She has to pay the legal team, whatever their percentages are. It's usually 33 and a third percent, 30%. Sometimes it's just that including expenses. Sometimes it's that plus expenses. It just depends on the agreement that they sign. Okay. And everything else that she's going to have to pay for security is not cheap. Living, it's not like she can go and live in the hood and live in a house that's very inexpensive. Like, that's the thing when it comes to getting to a certain point with fame and success and whatever. You kind of have to live a certain way. You're not afforded the opportunity to live in areas where it's less expensive. One, because of it being dangerous, because you become a target. I get that. I'm not saying people want to be a target in places that are not very safe, if you will. But also, with that being said, when you have to live in certain areas, and then you also you have to pay for that life and that lifestyle, as well as being able to maintain it. So the security that this woman has to have, who knows how long that type of money is even going to last them. So this is not about her just going after a check and getting a payday. Everyone is free to feel however they want to feel and have their personal opinions. But the fact of the matter is, this did not afford her any freedom. So this is actually something that has put her life in even more risk, because he is, in my personal opinion, demonic. I just had to share that because I was like, wow, this is what I just talked about. And I didn't know any details. I didn't know. I was just giving assumptions based on what I thought and the things that we have heard about this monster. So I am honestly feeling even more sorry for her at this point in time. I'm hoping and praying that nothing happens to her or her family, but people just really need to get off of the, oh, she just wanted to check, that's all she cared about, train of thinking in that way, because it's far from the truth. It really is. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts. Check out the full video. I have the link to it in the description box. Thank you guys so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.